moment for the president as he's winding down. I remember, Dan, the last year or so of the Bush administration, George W. Bush administration, you have a two-term president, when even his own party starts to think he's the past. We forget about him. The president's standing on terrorism has dropped precipitously. When you have all the other candidates out there saying, you know, he doesn't have a clue, and even Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders saying he should change his strategy when it comes to ISIS, what spot is he in?
He's in a difficult spot. I mean, he's in the typical spot of a second-term president in his final year in office. But we've seen at different moments his efforts to try to project himself into these debates, to take on the Republicans, if you will, and to counter some of the criticism. But it's a very hard thing for him to do because, as you suggest, people are moving on. People are looking elsewhere. People are moving toward a replacement. And
he's trying to convince the American people, you know, America should reflect the Statue of Liberty, should allow at least a modest number of Syrian refugees to come into this country. Yeah. And on the presidential campaign trail, this is where you do have a parallel universe. Democrats and the Democratic candidates and Democratic voters say, of course we should do that. The Republican candidates and Republican voters say, we should not do that.
Yeah, and you've seen him have many takes at doing this. He sounded very different when he was overseas, really going after the Republican candidates, Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, and those folks. And he sounded a different note, I think, in these last comments. And certainly, I think, empathizing more with how people are feeling. He was almost overthinking it when he was overseas and going after the Republicans. He seemed to be distracted by that. And now I think he's rising a bit above some of the political fray.
It is clear he knows he has almost zero chance of getting any gun control legislation through this Republican Congress. And yet, after the Colorado shooting, he issued a statement. The statement was on paper. We haven't heard the president's voice, but it was unusually personal, the statement the president issued on paper. He said, we can't let it become normal. If we truly care about this, if we're going to offer up our thoughts and our prayers again, for God knows how many times, with a truly clear conscience, then we have to do something about the easy accessibility of weapons of war on our streets to people who have no business wielding them. Period. Enough is enough. You can hear his voice and you can hear the frustration there. To your point, he's trying to interject himself into this campaign where none of the Republican candidates in their statements about the shooting mentioned where it happened. It happened at a Planned Parenthood clinic. They issued their condolences. They said it was horrific. They said it was unacceptable. The Democratic candidates, Bernie Sanders, for one, saying, you know, you should be careful about rhetoric. Rhetoric can incite crazy people. Hillary Clinton's tweeting that she stands with Planned Parenthood. Again, it's a parallel universe. The Democrats see this as helping them with their coalition. Republicans see it as being against gun control is perfectly right for them in the primaries.
And of course, this is 6 weeks. You know, he says we can't let this become normal. 6 weeks after he had a similar moment, coming to the White House after a shooting in Oregon at a community college. So, you know, there's little chance of this changing much. I think right now he's trying to get, he's looking beyond his term, trying to sort of change public opinion. But, you know, this issue is merging abortion, potentially, the Planned Parenthood opposition with gun control. It's a very toxic issue.
And this issue has really defined his second term. It started with Newtown, if we remember, and it's just continued with these mass shootings. And Obama has been kind of powerless to do anything on this. He used a lot of that juice from winning the second election to try to push this gun control legislation that ultimately failed. So you can just hear the frustration every single time he has to issue one of these statements. And it's hard to think that any of the Democrats, frankly, that pick up this torch are going to be able to move this forward because this president has worked very hard on this issue.
It is a mobilizing issue.
It is very much so.
I think both the president and Secretary Clinton see it as a mobilizing issue, even if it's not going to result in any legislation.
You look at the electoral map, they think it helps with the Obama coalition, if you will, which, if it is Secretary Clinton, she wants to keep together.